My own daughter slammed the door in my face like I was a beggar. A week later, she was the one knocking, after hearing I had won $10 million. My name is Harold. I am 62, from Oregon. I thought love built families. But sometimes money reveals who they really are. Help me reach my first 1,000 subscribers. Your one click keeps stories like this alive and helps me share more emotional journeys like Harold's. The smell of pine and rain drifted through the little Oregon town, where I had lived my whole life. After my wife Margaret passed away last winter, my world turned quiet. Too quiet. So when my daughter Clara and her husband Ethan invited me to stay for a few weeks, I thought it was a blessing. At first, everything felt normal. We would eat dinner together, talk about work, laugh about old memories. But slowly the warmth started to fade. Clara became distant, always checking her phone while Ethan's polite smiles turned sharper. It began with small comments. "Dad, maybe do not leave your coat on the chair." "Dad, could you not watch TV so loud?" Then came the sighs, the awkward silences, the looks between them that said, "We need our space." One night during dinner, Ethan invited some friends over. They were young professionals talking about stocks, vacations, and minimalist living. I stayed quiet, eating slowly. When one of them asked what I did before retirement, I said, "Worked at the textile mill for 40 years. The room went still. Ethan chuckled nervously. "Yeah, Dad is traditional like that," he said, almost like an apology. That was the night I realized I did not belong anymore. Later, Clara came to my room, eyes red from crying. "Dad," Ethan thinks, "maybe it is time you got your own place. Just for a while." I wanted to argue, but I saw guilt written all over her face. She pressed $50 into my palm, whispering, "You will be fine, right?" I nodded, smiled faintly, and said, "Of course, sweetheart. Do not worry about me." But when I stepped out into the cold Oregon night with just a duffel bag, I was not fine. The wind cut through my jacket, and for the first time in years, I felt truly alone. I spent the next few nights drifting between cheap motels and cafes in downtown Eugene. My savings were not much, just enough to keep me warm and fed for a while. Each morning, I would sit by the window of a small cafe, sipping plain coffee, wondering where everything had gone wrong. Clara did not call. Ethan did not text. It was as if I had vanished, and the world did not even notice. One rainy afternoon, as I dug through my old coat for spare change, I found something. A crumpled piece of paper, half soaked from the damp. It was a lottery ticket. I chuckled to myself. "Well, Harold," I muttered, "if this is your big break, the universe has a funny sense of humor." A week before, I had bought it at the local gas station. The clerk had joked, "You never know, old man. Maybe today is your lucky day." I had smiled, but forgotten all about it. Later that night, while eating dinner at the cafe, the TV behind the counter flashed the winning numbers. I almost ignored it until the second number matched. Then the third. Then the fourth. My hands began to shake. The waitress, a kind woman named Donna, leaned over. "Are you okay, sir?" I could barely whisper. I think I just won." We checked the numbers twice, then a third time. Every single one. I sat there frozen, my breath catching in my throat. $10 million. The next morning, I drove to Salem to claim the winnings, my heart pounding the whole way. The woman at the lottery office confirmed it with a calm smile. "Congratulations, Mr. Evans," she said. "You are a millionaire." It did not feel real, not yet. But once the check cleared, it hit me. The same people who had tossed me aside would soon come running. And I was not wrong. The calls started 2 days later. First Clara, then Ethan. I did not answer. By the end of the week, my voicemail was full. "Dad, please call me." "Harold, this is not fair. We were worried sick." Then one that almost made me laugh. "We were just talking about you, Dad. Why do you not come home for dinner? Ethan made your favorite soup." My favorite soup? The same man who once said my cooking smelled old-fashioned? No, I was not falling for that. Instead, I called a financial advisor, a lawyer, and quietly set my life straight. No luxury cars, no big mansion. Just peace, something I had not felt in years. I bought a small cabin near Mountain Lake, surrounded by tall pines and silence. For the first time since Margaret died, I could breathe again, but the peace would not last long because greed has a way of finding its way back. It was a bright Saturday morning when the peace finally broke. I was tending to my rose garden, coffee in hand, when a black car pulled into my driveway. Out stepped Clara and Ethan, dressed like they were meeting royalty, not the man they had thrown out just weeks ago. "Dad," Clara called, her voice trembling with fake warmth. "We have been looking everywhere for you." I did not move. "Strange," I said. "My phone still works." Ethan forced a smile. "We are so sorry, Harold. Things just got stressful. You know how families are." I looked at them, not with anger, but with a calmness they did not expect. "Family?" I said softly. "Family does not turn their back when you need a place to sleep." Clara's eyes darted to the new truck in my garage. "Dad, you have done well for yourself." I smiled. "Yes, Clara. I guess I finally got lucky." For the first time, she noticed the envelope in my hand, a donation receipt to the local orphanage. $10,000 in my late wife's name. Her voice cracked. "Dad, we were worried." "No, Clara," I interrupted. "You were curious. There is a difference." They stood there, speechless, as I turned back to my roses. That silence said everything. If you love stories where kindness wins and karma speaks loud, help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Your one click means a lot. Weeks passed, and I did not hear from them again. That was fine. I had peace, the scent of pine, and memories of my wife's laughter echoing in the walls of that little cabin. One morning, I got a letter from Clara's son, my grandson, Ben. He wrote in big, messy letters. "Grandpa, Mom says you are mad, but I miss you. Can I come fishing?" I smiled, and for the first time, tears rolled freely. Some bonds cannot be poisoned by greed. When Ben came over, I taught him how to bait a hook, roast marshmallows, and listen to the sound of silence, something even money cannot buy. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, he looked up and asked, "Grandpa, are you happy now?" I smiled. "Happier than ever, kiddo, because happiness is not about what you have. It is about who you still are." Later, as we sat by the lake, I whispered to myself, "I forgive you, Clara, but I will never forget. My $10 million was not revenge. It was a reminder that no matter how low life drags you, grace and dignity can lift you higher." And that night, as the wind rippled across the lake, I finally felt free. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if your own family betrayed you? If stories like this touched your heart, subscribe for more heartfelt tales of karma, family, and redemption.